When we think of a tech hub today, the image is usually glass campuses in Silicon Valley. But for thousands of years, the Indian subcontinent has operated as a continuous, massive engine of scientific inquiry. This footage of the monsoon illustrates the scale of the challenge ancient people faced. Surviving in a region with such extreme weather required precise knowledge. If you wanted to predict the rains to plant crops and feed millions, you couldn't rely on mythology. You needed hard, empirical data. This drive for data produced thinkers like the 5th-century mathematician Aryabhata. Traditional beliefs held that eclipses were caused by demons swallowing the sun and moon. Aryabhata used these specific intersecting lines of light and shadow to prove that eclipses were merely geometric events. As historian A. L. Basham notes, this scientific tradition focused on practical outcomes. From the complex surgical procedures developed by Sushruta to advanced mathematics, the priority was solving immediate, real-world problems. We can still see the physical proof of this applied science today. This is the Iron Pillar of Delhi, forged during the Gupta era. It has stood outdoors for over 1,500 years without rusting, demonstrating a mastery of metallurgy that remained unmatched globally for centuries. The bedrock of the subcontinent's technological history was established early. Observe the physical environment, calculate the data, and apply those findings directly to human survival. Moving into the Sultanate and Mughal periods, the approach to science moved toward mass production. Historian Irfan Habib describes this era as a technological revolution. Historian Irfan Habib notes that rulers prioritized engineering that served immediate military and imperial goals. Because labor was abundant and cheap, there was little economic pressure to develop the theoretical models required for labor-saving automation, so they focused on scaling existing tools. The introduction of the spinning wheel, or charkha, and the water-lifting sakya, known as the Persian wheel, improved the efficiency of daily work. By automating the extraction of water from deep wells, the Persian wheel allowed farmers to irrigate larger areas with far less physical effort. Merchants and agriculturalists used these upgrades to increase their yields, providing the surplus needed to feed rapidly expanding urban populations. Technology in medieval India was driven by the economic imperative to maximize production, increase wealth, and build military strength. The British colonial administration introduced a different approach, centered on extraction. Massive railway networks were built strictly to move raw materials out of the country, while the education system was designed to train administrative clerks rather than innovators. In response, Indian visionaries recognized a crucial reality. Political independence would be meaningless without first reclaiming intellectual and scientific autonomy. This push for intellectual freedom culminated in the work of physicist C.V. Raman. By proving that light changes its wavelength when passing through a liquid, a breakthrough known as the Raman effect, he became the first Asian scientist to win the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930. As historian Ramachandra Guha highlights, Raman achieved this utilizing incredibly cheap homemade laboratory equipment. He proved that high-level innovation depends on the intellect, not the expensive infrastructure held by the colonial state. When independence arrived in 1947, the new government faced immediate threats from famine and economic stagnation. To secure basic food and energy, the state poured resources into massive dams and nuclear programs, infrastructure Prime Minister Nehru called the temples of modern India. In post-independence India, science functioned as a survival strategy. Large-scale engineering provided the domestic foundation needed to resolve severe famine and energy shortages. By 1991, the strategy shifted again. Economic liberalization dismantled state monopolies, opening the doors to a private sector-driven era of manufacturing and engineering. To boost internal trade, the country prioritized massive physical engineering projects. The Golden Quadrilateral, shown in this image, linked the major economic hubs of Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Calcutta with modern pavement and surveying technology. But the most rapid changes happened on an invisible network. The post-2016 period saw an explosion in data usage triggered by ultra-cheap rates, transforming the mobile phone into a mandatory tool for survival. This chart maps a unique digital public infrastructure. By combining bank accounts, biometric ID, and mobile numbers, developers created the Jam Trinity, This powers UPI, allowing millions to bypass physical banks entirely for real-time mobile transactions. Historian Sunil Khilnani argues that these physical and digital networks serve as social integrators. By connecting a diverse population across regional boundaries, technology creates the shared infrastructure necessary for a modern democracy to function.